Chef John. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'll be showing you how to make eggplant parmesan. Our eggplant parmesan is going to consist of these eggplant medallions we have breaded, and we're going to deep fry them. We're going to lay them out in a sheet pan. We're going to cover them with our fresh marinara sauce. Then we're going to cover the marinara sauce in our fresh mozzarella, stick it into the oven for about 350 for about 10 minutes until the cheese is nice and melted. We're going to lay that on top of a bed of our egg or the pasta of your choice. The key component to our eggplant parmesan is our marinara sauce. It's going to be very important to get as much flavor as we possibly can. We're starting out with canned tomatoes. I prefer to get them whole and leave all the juice and everything. But you just squeeze these tomatoes and crush them yourself. I prefer to do it like this. You can buy crushed tomatoes if you like. And set these aside. And to carry out the rest of the recipe, we're going to need carrots, garlic, onions, fresh oregano, sea salt, black pepper, crushed red pepper, and basil. And to start out the process is I would saute the carrots, which I've diced, the onions, which I have diced, and let those cook with a little bit of sea salt, black pepper, and the oregano to start out with. I like to sweat the onions and the carrots first, and once they start to get to frying, I'll put the red pepper flakes in soon after, and I'll let those fry. Then I will add the garlic. Once the garlic has cooked down, some of the rawness I got off, I will take my crushed tomatoes and add those to the pot. I don't add the basil until at least 45 minutes after everything is cooked down. When this water, the tomato juice, has cooked down to almost that proportion, I will add the basil and cook for at least another 30 minutes. I like to cook it about a good 2 hours. You don't have to cook it that long, but I believe that the flavors develop much nicer over time at a slow, steady heat. Not to boil, not just barely even just a simmer with a top on it. And just allow that moisture to evaporate by concentrating the flavors at the same time. I use the carrots because of their sweetness. Instead of adding sugar to balance out the acidity, I choose carrots, and it's kind of unexpected. Some people are concerned about the carrot flavor getting in the sauce, but I love it. Now for our breading of the eggplant, we're going to have ourselves seasoned flour, seasoned breadcrumbs, and seasoned egg wash. We're seasoning it with sea salt, black pepper, and oregano. For the egg wash, just crack an egg, a little bit of milk. This is going to act like a glue, allowing the breadcrumb and flour to adhere to the eggplant itself. We already have our seasoning of salt and pepper in here, with oregano as well. But I want each element to be able to contribute the most amount of flavor because the eggplant doesn't come pre-seasoned. This is going to be for our eggplant medallions. We want them to have be about ½ inch thickness. Any thicker than that, it would be take too long to cook in the oil. And if it's too thin, the hot oil will eat through the eggplant, and you'll be left with a big mess in your oil. We'll just slice it. That's probably a little bit thicker than we want it, but somewhere in that range. And our next step is to be breading our eggplant. Now the breading process is 3 parts to it. We're going to have our flour, which we're going to coat the eggplant. We're going to place it into our egg wash and back into the flour. And you can get as messy as you like with this process. What you don't want is to have too much moisture on your fingers to where it's going to stick and make finger dumplings. Let's go right back into the egg mixture, and just right into the breadcrumbs. Make sure everything is nice and coated. If you see a part where it's not getting any of the breadcrumbs, you just kind of dip it back in the egg. This part is very important to the final outcome. But just to show you one more. We're going to take our medallion into the flour. The reason why I do this step twice, because if we're doing Parmesan chicken or something like that, it has enough moisture to be able to get that flour to stick. Eggplant is rather dry. So we're just gonna do this process twice. We're just gonna go right into that egg one more time and into our breadcrumbs. Make sure all the edges are nice and coated. Like I said, it's a messy process, but it pays off. Get a little bit more egg to get a little bit more of that breadcrumb stick, and we are good to go. Next stop is that hot oil before the oven. Here we have a pot of peanut oil and vegetable oil that we're going to be frying. It's half and half. You want to have your oil come up no more than halfway in your pot. Because of the moisture that will be cooking off, it'll cause the oil to overspill and you'll have a greasy mess and maybe even a fire. You want to make sure it's hot enough but not too hot. I like to take a little piece of breading, drop it in there, and I'll see it slowly start to turn into a nice golden brown. I know we're about right. You want to, if you are taking a temperature with the candy thermometer, about 350 should be about what you're looking for. All right. We'll do a tester piece before we just start frying them all. See what we're working with. We're looking for that nice sizzle, which we have, and you don't want to mess around with it too much and knock the breading off. You want to allow that breading to cook and seal around the eggplant. You want the eggplant to sit with the breading for at least 30 minutes or so, just to ensure that the breading stays where you want it and not in your oil. I would say that's about the color we're looking for, maybe a little bit lighter. Well, it's looking like they're just about done. Golden brown, looking delicious. Well, this is the last one. Finishing this up. Get the oil grease excess off. We're just going to move right on to this next step of saucing and then cheesing. Slicing the mozzarella is going to go atop our breaded and sauced eggplant medallions. It's going to add a wonderful taste and texture to our meal. Alright, we just finished frying up our eggplant medallions, and now we're going to be saucing them up. Put as much or as little as you like. I personally like tomato sauce. So we'll put a healthy amount. Now we're going to be seasoning it up. This is our fresh mozzarella. And into the oven it goes. And it's 350 for about 8 to 10 minutes. I'm going to check it maybe after 5 since we just took them out of the oil. They're still rather warm. But you just want to get that mozzarella nice and melted. And this is our finished product right here. Eggplant parmesan with fresh mozzarella, homemade marinara. And we are good to go. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for letting me show you my version of eggplant parmesan. Enjoy.